I am Peter, a follower of Jesus. I'm heartily ashamed of myself. I was the one who said to Jesus, I'm ready to go with you to prison and death. Yet, after he was arrested, I was so frightened that I denied even knowing him. How well Jesus knew me. There, in the high priest's house, I disowned him. The chief priests have brought Jesus to Pilate to see if he'll convict him. Here am I, creeping back secretly to see what is happening. I keep myself hidden, though I'm sure Jesus knows where I am. He has the power to save himself, if he wants to. I know the power he possesses. I was there when he calmed the storm on the Sea of Galilee. We all thought we would drown, but Jesus told the wind to be still, and the storm ceased immediately. He isn't using that power now. He just gives himself into the hands of those who want to kill him. There is a threatening crowd outside, yelling, "Crucify him!" So Pilate gives in to them and releases that criminal, Barabbas, instead. What a coward Pilate is. But am I any different from him? The cross is laid on Jesus' shoulders, and he does nothing to resist. He will not defend himself, just as he would not allow us to defend him when the officers of the temple came to arrest him. Just a few hours ago, I was the brave one, drawing my sword to cut off the ear of the high priest's servant. But once I was alone with time to think, my courage left me. Now Jesus is being brave. He accepts the punishment willingly. But there is a sad expression on his face as he scans the crowd, looking for his friends. I once told Jesus I would never leave him. Where else would I go? Now he is alone. Apart from two thieves who are to be crucified alongside him. Perhaps the rest of his friends are somewhere in the midst of the crowd, but like me, they're keeping out of sight. Only John, his beloved disciple, stays close to him, along with his mother, Mary. It tortures me to see Jesus fall under that heavy cross. I remember the first time I showed weakness. It was in the house of Caiaphas, the high priest, where Jesus was being interrogated. I was sitting warming myself by the fire when one of the servant maids said to me, "You were with the man from Nazareth?" I immediately replied, "Woman, I do not know the man." How Jesus must have suffered then, knowing that I had turned my back on him. But now he's on his feet again. He knows what he must do, and he is determined to carry it through. A huge crowd has turned out to see this crucifixion. They've all heard about Jesus, the Messiah, and they want to see what will happen to him. As I follow the procession at a distance, I can see Mary again in front of me, making her way through the mob to put her arms around her son just for a moment. I'm keeping out of sight, knowing that I deserve nothing but reproach from this gentle mother. I visited Mary's home many times. I shared meals there, and she always welcomed me with kindness and generosity, accepting me as one of Jesus' friends. How must she feel seeing her son alone, tortured and bleeding? I know how much she loves him, and I can see that even in this brief meeting, Jesus takes comfort from her love and faith in him. He needs my comfort too, and I lack the courage to give it to him. Jesus is becoming weaker, and he cannot support the cross on his own. Suddenly, the procession comes to a halt, and a couple of Roman soldiers pull a man out of the crowd. He struggles at first, but now they are making him help Jesus carry his cross. It should have been me. Jesus has been such a good friend to me, and now I ought to be helping him. I'm strong enough to do it, but again I lack the courage to come forward. And this stranger has taken what should really be my place. Jesus looks at the man gratefully, as if he knows he can depend on him. I know that look so well. Jesus can put confidence into anyone. And now this stranger, who has become his friend, shoulders the cross cheerfully. Someone in the crowd calls out the man's name, Simon, the name I had before Jesus called me Peter. Well, Simon, at this moment you are a true friend to Jesus. Even in this pitiful condition, Jesus still draws people to him. As he makes his way slowly and painfully up the hill, a woman watching the procession runs to fetch a cloth with which to wipe his face. She pays no attention to the soldiers who are guarding the prisoners, but goes straight to Jesus, gently placing the cloth to his face and wiping away the sweat and the blood. This is the same Jesus who, just a few days ago, took a towel and knelt down to wash my feet. This woman may never have seen him before. She may not know who he is, but something inspired her to make this kind gesture. And of course, Jesus repays all kindness many times over. Even with Simon's help, Jesus has to try desperately hard to put one foot in front of the other. He stumbles and falls again. I can see the pain he's suffering, and the sadness too. I remember that servant in the high priest's house who challenged me, saying, "You are also one of them, the followers of Jesus." Thinking of my own safety, I replied indignantly, "No, I am not." I can see now that it was my denial that pushed Jesus to the ground. I have helped to place this burden on his shoulders. I have added to his suffering. but he still won't give up. And now, once more, he is on his feet and continuing his painful journey. Jesus slowly makes his way forward. But now the procession is halted again by a crowd of women showing their sympathy for him. His concern is all for them, as he tells them to weep for themselves and to be prepared for frightening events to come. I wonder what he means. There were so many times when Jesus tried to prepare us for the future, but we didn't always listen carefully, nor understand what he was saying. It's the same for these women. Jesus longed to gather Jerusalem's children to him, like a hen gathering her brood under her wings. But they would not let him. Now it's too late. Jesus is almost at the end of the journey. His strength fails him, and he falls again. He is physically exhausted, but I know his determination so well. When we all walked with him on his preaching mission, he used to urge us to keep going from town to town, no matter how tired or discouraged we were. Now, as he gets to his feet again, I remember the third time I let him down. Another servant in the high priest's house noticed me and said, "Of course this man was with Jesus. By his accent he is a Galilean." I turned on him impatiently, saying, "I don't know what you're talking about." That was the third time I denied Jesus. I'd been angry when Jesus said that I would deny him 3 times before cockcrow. How right he was. For after that denial, the cock crew. And at that moment, Jesus was led out of the hall. As he passed me, he gave me such a look of sadness and love that I could only run outside, weeping bitterly. I know now what pain I have caused my master. The soldiers heartlessly drag the clothes from the prisoners' backs. I feel such rage when I see Jesus treated in this way. He's not a criminal like the other 2, and he doesn't deserve all this. His hands and his shoulders are bleeding, and his feet are sore and dirty from the dusty road. I want to go to him and shield him from this mockery, but still something holds me back. I can't trust myself anymore. I always thought I was so strong and brave, but now I've just been shown how weak I really am. Will I ever learn that I cannot rely on myself? I need the support and strength of Jesus. I once saw Jesus at work in the carpenter's shop in Nazareth when he mended some furniture for his mother. He's a skilled craftsman, and he enjoyed making useful and beautiful things with his carpentry tools. What a contrast with the work of these Roman soldiers, who are coming now with their hammers and nails to inflict on Jesus the most terrible torture. As they drive the nails through his wrists and his feet, splintering the bone, they seem scarcely to notice the pain they're causing. To them, it's just another day's work. At last, the 3 crosses are erected and secured, so that the weight of the men's bodies hangs from their arms. Jesus doesn't cry out, but bears even this agony in silence. For 3 hours, Jesus has been dying, slowly and painfully. The air is still and heavy, as if a storm is coming. It makes the onlookers uneasy, and they start to drift away. The 2 Marys remain with John, who is trying to comfort Jesus' mother. As people pass Jesus, they jeer at him, saying, "If you are really the Messiah, save yourself and come down from the cross." Jesus looks down with that same sad, loving look he gave me at the high priest's house, and he says, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing." I suddenly realised that this forgiveness is meant for me too. I've let him down, but he still loves me and forgives me. Perhaps now I can try to forgive myself. For the first and last time, Jesus cries out in real agony, my God, why have you forsaken me?" This is what my denial has done to him. Just for a moment, he actually feels cut off from his Father in heaven. I know how much he loves his Father, and to think that even for a split second he should be separated from him must have been the greatest pain of all. He can hardly breathe, but with a last effort he says the words, "It is finished." Then he just lets go of life and gives his spirit into his Father's hands. There is a strange silence, as if the world is stunned at what has happened. The Roman centurion in charge of the execution has been watching Jesus closely all this time, and he cries out, "Truly, this was the Son of God." And now the storm breaks. The chief priests want everything tidied away before the start of the Sabbath. So the 3 crucified men must be removed from their crosses. The soldiers now return to break the legs of those still alive. But Jesus is already dead. 2 well-dressed men are approaching. I recognise them as Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, who were secret friends of Jesus. All the while they have stayed in the background. Now they have brought ointment and burial clothes, and Joseph offers his own tomb as a resting place for Jesus. I can imagine how Mary must be feeling as Jesus is taken down from the cross and laid in her lap. Surely there can be no sorrow like hers. Yet at the same time she feels immense gratitude for what Jesus has done. She never once doubted him, even though she didn't always understand the things he told her. but now she just wants a little time to hold her son in her arms and mourn for him. A sad and quiet little procession takes Jesus the short distance to the tomb where he will be buried. I feel so lost. I don't know what to do next. But now I remember a strange thing Jesus said to me shortly before he was arrested. Peter, Satan has been given leave to test you, but I have prayed for you, so that afterwards you will be stronger and be able to strengthen the others. Perhaps he wanted me, weak as I am, to be a tower of strength and some sort of leader of his disciples. How could he have had such faith in me? I must go and find the others, and together we will wait and see what happens.
soul.